Hi again, Andy Trivett here, carrying on with some introduction to SolidWorks. Where we left off was we had made a little cube with 4 nubs on it, and the only really sophisticated thing we did was we had the nubs with a little bit of a taper to them. Let's take this a bit further and make this into an actual kind of realistic part. So stick with me, we'll make something out of this. Now, we left off in this kind of geometry. We've got a solid cube. Doesn't look like it's something that we could really manufacture or want to have necessarily. So how about we make stacking blocks? They look a bit like this, but there's some more details. Oh, I can see that SolidWorks is telling me I haven't saved the document in a while that I've worked with. Well, that's probably a good idea. I'm going to ignore how it tells me to do that. And before we get started, I should have done this before, I am going to go up to the top bar and I'm going to click Save As. And I'm going to give the part a new name. Now, the solid parts, as opposed to assemblies and drawings, have the subscript SLDPRT for SolidWorks. I'm going to call this 4 block, as in 4 nubs. And I saved it as that. Now you'll see a couple things changed. One is the name at the top of the window, of course, has changed to the name of the file, but also the basic name of the part over here in the design tree has changed to 4 block as well. While I'm there, I might as well look at some of the other features I can have here. One is the history. Well, that history button kind of tells me what I've done. The sensors, which are things you can use to measure different parameters. We won't use that just now. Annotations, that would be comments we can add to the file. And then this block, material. We haven't really specified a material yet. Now, SolidWorks has a lot of default materials you can play with. I'm just going to right-click on this, and it gives me a list of what are the default favorites. The nice thing about this is these materials, it isn't just a matter of color. These also carry with them physical properties. So for simulation purposes, carries with it the density of the material, the electrical conductivity of the material, and a variety of other parameters as well. Certainly color is one of them, and color and texture kind of looks cool. I'm going to make this, let's see, don't really like any of those, so I'm going to have a look and see what other materials I might have there. You can click the other buttons. That wasn't what I wanted. The best way to learn SolidWorks, by the way, is to just play with it. I clicked Manage Favorites, and now this comes up with a whole lot of other materials. You can see these are the list of the favorites that I have there, but there's an awful lot more materials to pick from. Steel, iron, I'm going to look at some plastics. And, it's just an infinite number of plastics. I can pick PET. What should I have? How about a rigid PVC? I add that. That material actually, if I open it in the library, I can look at the appearance of it, and it's showing up as just white. And it gives me things like the elastic modulus, the shear modulus, the density, the tensile strength, etc. But I'm going to be happy with that PVC rigid. and click apply, close this. I should have added this to my favorite materials now. I certainly added it to the part, and you'll see the color of the part has changed a little bit too. It's its best cartoon image of what white PVC would look like. So with that, now we have a part that looks like the thing we maybe would have made, but it's not totally there. We couldn't make this because it's solid. So we can do lots of other things to this. Notice now that it's changed to this part name, PVC rigid. These other planes are still present. Recall that when we started, these planes were not visible. Now that we have a part here, it's kind of useless to have that front plane showing up. So I'm just going to hide that again. So now that's out of the way. In order to do some more CAD work, I'm going to go back to just the hidden lines just to save computer power. If you're using a laptop, that's important to you. And I think we'll make this more like a plastic part, which would be hollow. And there's a tool for that. If you look in the Features menu, or this Features tab, as opposed to Sketch, Features are things that you can do to the solid. You'll see there's a whole lot of things. We've been using extruded boss base so far, but there's all these other tools. There's a whole bunch of cuts, a variety of types. We'll use some of those later on. Fillets and all these things. Basically, the best way to learn SolidWorks is to try different things. I'm going to try shell. Now it comes up, I've already been using it, and so it remembers the last time I used it, I picked 3 millimeters as a thickness, and it's looking at this body that I have here, and if I just simply click show preview, then you can see in yellow that it's like it's made it into a hollow shell. So it's taken away all that inside material inside the part. But I can't really make a hollow cube with an inside that's inaccessible unless I want to put Schrodinger's cat in there. So I'm going to have to look at how would I make that more realistic. Well, there's this remaining blue box, which is faces to remove. So these would be faces on the 3D CAD model that aren't going to be made into a shell. So if I pick the bottom one, for instance, then what I've ended up with is actually a hollow shell. One of the odd things about this, however, is that these little nubs, because they're bigger than 3 millimeters, have shown up as having a hollow shell too. That might not be too realistic, so I can go back to the shell command. If I just click that, left click that, and you'll see there's the edit feature. And some of the things that I can remove from the shell, I removed the bottom. Maybe I'll also remove that, and that, and that, and that. And that should have taken away those things from the shell. Oops. Luckily, it shows me the preview, and that didn't do the trick for me. So that took away all of the shell. I didn't want to do that. But perhaps what I want to do is a multi-thickness thing, in which case I can now click that, 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 and that, and I'm going to set this to be 8 millimeters. Let's see what that does. Oh, I forgot to remove the bottom. Curious. So it removed the shell from this one nub, but not the rest. I must have made a mistake. I'll go back and see why that was. Pick that as 8. That, and that. There was a problem with how I picked the sizes. There, a little bit of rough going there, but now you can see that I have a shell that looks, well, a bit like a Lego cube. If you look at it as a full solid, you can see that it doesn't have the nubs in the box in the bottom, and it does have them on the top. And so there we have it. That's it for now. I'll be back to carry on this adventure of making an interesting part. See you later.